turned over to CBP back in the early 2000s, where we first started using it. And I'll tell you that it has technology that are radars that detect people, and then cameras that help guide Border Patrol agents in. That technology, if we had drones, the Predator B specifically, spread out all across the border, not only would we not need a fence here in the Big Bend, but we wouldn't need a fence in those states, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, where you don't have a natural barrier such as the Rio Grande River. I'll move along to, again, my experience in border security, and I'll tell you, I support barriers, but I support barriers where they work, and a barrier is not going to work here. When I first went to Border Patrol in 1996, we had barriers in the urban-to-urban environments in Nogales, and it wasn't meant to just stop people. And I think America has a false sense of security that a wall or a barrier is going to solve the problem and secure the border. Well, it's not. People will still, and CBP leadership will tell you this, they're still going to go over it, under it, and through it. It's that combination of whether it's barriers, technology, and most importantly, you have to have a man or a woman with a badge on their chest to go out and make those apprehensions, because we've experienced here where technology detects people crossing, but we just don't have the manpower to go out and respond to apprehend it. I won't touch too much on your points, Mr. Talarico, but his plan that I've had the opportunity to review, I can tell you that both parties speak it. Up in Washington, D.C., they both say the same thing. There may be a little few differences, but again, it's the use of technology. It's the hiring of more Border Patrol agents. It's putting more infrastructure, such as immigration judges and other facilities down on the border. And then, of course, it's focusing on criminal aliens that do cross the border to make sure that we deal with those properly. We can have a safe and secure border, and we can have a beautiful Big Bend. Again, thank you all for being here. At this time, I'll turn it over to Billy from Far Flung Adventures.
Thanks, Thad.
Thank you.
As Sheriff Cleveland said, thank all of you guys for being here. I would just like to say, as a local business owner and investor in neighboring Brewster County, first of all, we live in the safest part of Texas. The narrative that we hear about how dangerous and what a crisis the border is complete fabrication. If you look at the facts, the closer you get to the border, the safer our towns are, with Laredo being the safest city in Texas. It's just statistically speaking. And so it is what we have seen. The Department of Homeland Security put out their own border brief in January that touted a 74% reduction in all apprehensions, only to less than a month later declare a crisis on the border. So my question is, which one is it? Did you solve 74% of the problem, or do we have a crisis? It can't be both ways. And so this border wall, to us locally, it will damage everything that we've worked for, everything that we've invested in, as far as our businesses, our way of life. We live on tourism. It is the most beautiful part of Texas. It's the crown jewel of Texas. In 1944, it was a gift to the United States to become a national park, and a border wall or border barrier system through that will do nothing to make Texans safer in any way. What this really represents, in my opinion, is simple federal overreach and a claim of a crisis that does not exist, so that they can build something that they want, regardless of what it does to locals. I'd like to thank James Talarico for coming down to listening to us, to see what it's actually like here on the border. And I would like to challenge every person watching this and every person who gets to see this. If you didn't vote, raise the expectations and standards for yourself and vote. And raise the expectations of who you're voting for, that they listen to locals and they're actually here to serve and help us, as government is built to do, not to overrun, ignore, and destroy us. So with that, thank you very much.
Sheriff, thank you for your hospitality, for being here today. I'm here to support and speak about Valverde County and my residents, where it's affecting their way of life. I'm here basically for a common sense approach at border security, and I think that's what we all need to be looking at. Spending billions and billions of dollars is not the answer. We have a broken system that hasn't been fixed for generations. And I think that in Valverde County, we're right on the border, but I've had a border structure, and I approve of that border structure being there because it protects my citizens. and it's only a mile and a half long, but it's been compromised for the last 6 years. One administration tore it down with the intent to put it back up. The next administration stopped the project and just sealed it up, and it's compromised. And I've been working for 6 years to try to get somebody just to finish the project or put it back the way it was. But I'm here, in support of this movement to protect this beautiful countryside. It's a gift from God. But I'm also, supporting my citizens. We had a meeting last Thursday in Valverde County. There was 100 plus landowners from Lake Amistad to Terrell County that would be impacted by it. It's going to totally change their way of life. And not one individual there was in favor of that type of barrier. I think they're open to discussions on technology, but that's where it's at, and nobody wants to have that conversation. So thank you again for being here, and we'll be working to move this project forward. Thank you.
Well, thank all of you for being here. Welcome to Big Bend, one of the most sacred regions in the state of Texas. I'm here with local elected officials, local law enforcement, local business owners. Some of us are Democrats, some of us are Republicans, some of us are independents, but we all believe in three things. We need strong border security. We love Big Bend, and we're opposed to this Big Bend border wall. That's why, with the support of these local border leaders, I'm announcing my plan for common sense border security. We need to hire more Border Patrol agents to stop illegal crossings. We have to hire more immigration judges to relieve the asylum backlog and weed out fraudulent asylum claims. We need to take advantage of modern surveillance technology to detect unauthorized crossings and ensure that we are keeping this border secure. And we got to make sure that ICE is focusing its resources on deporting those who mean to do us harm, not moms and babies and our hardworking neighbors. And finally, we have to stop this corrupt border wall through Big Bend and focus our resources on physical barriers where they're actually needed. A border wall through Big Bend would be a monument to corruption. This construction of this useless wall has already been filled with no-bid contracts and backroom deals. Just one contract to just one out-of-state for-profit corporation is going to cost taxpayers $1.7 billion. That's the most expensive contract for border wall construction in Texas history, and it's going to the least trafficked section of the entire southern border and through one of the most sacred parts of Texas. That is the opposite of common sense, and it's what we are standing together to oppose. We have so much more work to do on this issue. I think Joe Rogan said it best. They're doing this for a nice contract. We need more Border Patrol agents. We need more immigration judges. We need more surveillance technology. Both parties have failed us on our border. Most Texans don't want open borders. Most Texans don't want this corrupt border wall. What we want, what we need, is common sense border security, and we need it today. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. We do have the experts behind me, and so if you have a question for one of them, please let us know. And I will tell the local officials behind me if I say something inaccurate, please feel free to correct me and jump in.
Ryan? James, we're here in a county of 600 people. But the issues here, of course, have outsized impacts to the rest of the 30 million people in the state. What message do you hope this sends to people who maybe have never been to Terrell County, who are in Houston and Dallas and San Antonio?
Well, part of why we're doing this tour of border communities is to show off the beauty, show off the rich culture of these communities. Many of you know that my mom grew up in Laredo. Some of you know that I come out to Big Bend every year. So the border means a lot to me personally. And too often politicians come down here to demonize, to weaponize, to grandstand for their own benefit. And it hurts our local businesses. It hurts our border communities. We're trying to do the opposite with this tour. We are trying to show off the beauty, the culture, the opportunities that are here in our border communities all throughout Texas. And I think we need more elected officials in both parties who are willing to listen to these local officials, who are willing to support and have their backs in Washington, D.C. We haven't seen that. Again, this is a problem in both parties. It's why you've got Democrats and independents and Republicans up here, because both parties have failed us on the border. I have said that Joe Biden and his administration failed us on our southern border. That is clear, and I think these officials would say the same thing. And now we're seeing a different kind of extremism with this corrupt border wall. What most Texans, and I think what most Americans want, is a common sense approach to border security. One that ensures we have enough Border Patrol agents, we have enough technology, we have enough judges to be able to have an orderly, safe process on our southern border. That's not what we have now. I think it's what most Texans want, and they're frustrated that they can't seem to get that from either party. They can't seem to get that from any of our elected officials. I hope that this is the beginning of changing that.
Joe? James, you've been out here enough to know that these communities, these Big Bend communities, are distinctive, and yet they all rely on the parks, on the river, on this area right here.
Yeah.
Can you share any stories you've heard from local business people in these various communities about how the wall will be devastating?
I mean, you just heard from some local business owners here in the region about how devastating this wall would be. As you mentioned, a lot of our communities here in the Big Bend region depend on tourism. They depend on visitors from across Texas, people like me coming from Central Texas to get away and experience this natural beauty, and people across the country who come and visit the parks. And I'm worried about what this senseless border wall would do to our tourism here in the region, what it would do to our local economies, that we should be supporting and growing and cultivating, not attacking with political, useless border walls. And I think that's something that we need in both political parties across the political spectrum. I'm curious if anybody up here has anything to add on business stuff, if any of our business owners want to add anything.
I would just say this, as a local business owner here, this is it's an attack on the American dream of being a small-time entrepreneur. It may not be devastating to the billion-dollar corporations and that, but to the average person who creates jobs, which really does provide a huge driver of this economy. We are very much just disregarded with the border wall. I mean, we are 100% tourism business. Brewster County is largely dependent on tourism dollars as well. And people come here because it's beautiful, because it's serene, and because of the nature. They don't come here for any industrialized anything. And in fact, I bet you escape Central Texas to get away from the modernization and the industrialization. And therefore, why bring any of that out here? It will do nothing to increase security, and it will do everything to destroy the economy and the local businesses that support tourism.
And Sheriff Cleveland talked about the $7 billion. You think about if we spent that $7 billion on the surveillance technology that our law enforcement needs, if we spent some of that money on investing in the needs in these communities, we could take the Big Bend region to the next level. And I think that's what we all want. We want it to be more prosperous. We want it to be safer. We want it to attract more tourism. And I think we could do that if we were spending these tax dollars wisely, not wasting them on a useless wall. And again, I just want to emphasize, a physical barrier does make sense in parts of our southern border, especially in the high traffic areas. But this is the least trafficked area along the whole southern border. And so it makes no sense at all. And it's why you're seeing people in both political parties. It's why you're seeing law enforcement, elected officials, business owners all speaking out against it. In these divided times, it's rare to see that kind of consensus on a policy issue, but we have it here. And so it's why this is not a partisan issue. It's why we're all speaking out. We need more people to speak out so that we can protect Big Bend. Again, the crown jewel of Texas. Other questions?
Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all for being here.